Riverdale Season 7 Episode 2 did a deep dive into the 50s, right down to the annual sock hop that had plenty of teen hormones raging. Fans got to know the characters in this timeline a little better, quickly realizing that no matter the era, teenage problems are all the same. And in many cases, being a teen in the 50s was much worse because there was definitely less acceptance when it came to certain issues like same-sex relationships. We saw Kevin Keller struggle with his sexuality, choosing to repress his desires and go steady with Betty at the behest of her mother, who had a little talk with him and suggested that giving Betty a pin would make all of their problems disappear. It didn't. Kevin's inner battle trying to deny who he really is was evident, while Betty was struggling to understand the complexity of her own feelings when it came to Archie Andrews. She wanted things to work out with Kevin, but at some point, she realized that the things she was feeling whenever she was in a room with Archie weren't what she was feeling when she was with Kevin. In fact, everyone spent much of the episode pining for something. Or someone else. The new guy at school, Clay Walker, caught Kevin's eye, while, as mentioned, Betty seemed pretty smitten with Archie. Those two are drawn comically to each other, and the chemistry was palpable, but even though Archie sensed it, he found himself going above and beyond to prove his worth to Veronica, who was pushing him away because of her commitment issues. There was a huge emphasis on relationships, and while it's surprising, it's also the thread that's been holding together Riverdale amid the various crazy storylines across 7 seasons. We're invested in these relationships, so no matter what, we want to see how they play out. It was nice seeing Archie hold his own for once, realizing that he deserved better than whatever game Veronica was playing. This Archie seemed to learn that lesson rather quickly, and when she finished read his poem and came around to the idea of giving him a shot, Archie chose to slow dance with his mother instead. You can't even fault him for it, and it's what makes Archie such a good guy and catch. Cheryl did her best to dodge Tony at every turn, but eventually, the serpent's antics got to her. If she wanted anyone to be in attendance at the sock hop, she had to book Fangs Fogarty as the entertainment. All of this was seemingly Tony's way of getting closer to Cheryl, even asking her at one point to boogie woogie. I could hear Chony hearts bursting everywhere. Of course, Principal Featherhead took note of their dance and immediately rushed over there to comment on boys and girls being together as God intended, yet another reminder that the relationships that seem normal to us in the present day, and that we're rooting for, were forbidden during this period. Riverdale, Chapter 119, Skip, Hop and Thump, Image Number, RVD702A_BTS_0335R, Pictured, L. R. Van Essa Morgan as Tony Topaz, Madeline Petch as Cheryl Blossom, Lily Reinhardt as Betty Cooper and Camilla Mendez as Veronica Lodge. Photo, Bettina Strauss / The CW, copyright 2023 The CW Network, LLC. All rights reserved. Though I love that, much like Archie and Betty, some people are just meant to be, and in this case, Tony and Cheryl may be total opposites but they attract. And will find a way. Jughead, who no longer remembers the present timeline, doesn't seem to be part of the core group anymore, spending his time with Dilton Doily and Ethel Muggs, which, admittedly is a nice way to bring back some of the original Riverdale characters for the final season. Related, Riverdale Season 7 Premiere Review. Don't worry darling, Jughead scores a dream writing gig at Pep Comics and decides to get Ethel a job as an illustrator. Drawing such putrid artwork gets her in trouble in class, and when she skips detention to talk to the editor-in-chief of the comic book shop, she gets hired, but it also lands her in some hot water with her drunk and abusive parents. The last we see of Ethel, she's telling her parents that she's going to the sock hop with Jughead before we later see her arrive at the dance covered in blood. She's pale and weak, and as Jughead grabs her, she tells him that something terrible has happened. It's almost as if her comic book pages have sprung to life, but it's unclear if her parents tried to attack her or if she did something to her parents. Either way, it's that glimpse of Riverdale that we've been waiting for, because there's no timeline where things don't get weird in this murderous small town. What do you think happened? Will the right couples eventually fall into place, or will everything get turned on its head again in the romance department? And even if we go back to the present-day timeline, can we keep these fun phrases like horsing around and slang words like gin